Gentlemen, may I now welcome you all to the 114th Inaugural Lecture of this great university, to be delivered by another distinguished professor of English Stylistics, Professor Samson. Please, can we put our hands together for him? Professor Dare is the current Dean Faculty of Arts of this great university. Once again, can we put our hands together for him? Publication department will refer to as Professor Dare as a personality that demonstrates principle, passion, forthrightness, and of course, thoroughness, among others. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession is about to enter the hall. We are now implores all to rise and remain standing as we welcome the academic procession of this great university into the hall. Of course, it's expected to be followed by the Dean Faculty of Arts, who today is the inaugural lecturer, Professor Samson. And we put our hands together for him. But today is occupying the portion of the inaugural lecturer. Therefore, Professor Dr. Awodide is the Dean Faculty of Pharmacy, Professor Admin. Therefore, he is the Dean Faculty of Clinical Sciences, Professor Babatunde Ayobade. Because they have the Dean Faculty of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor Physics AGO-IWOYE. Next to him, the Dean Faculty of Science, Professor John Mayo Downey. So here is the Dean Faculty of Education, Professor Stylistics. Followed by the Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor Ayodele Odunami. Next to him is the Dean Faculty of Administration and Management Sciences, Professor Musa Sulanke. We now have the acting provost of the College of Engineering and Environmental Dr. Ashiru Mutima. To be followed by the provost of Science School, Professor Olusegun Adebayo Lawal. Next to him, the vice brother, Mr. Abdul Makinde, FCA. And of course, the acting university librarian, Dr. Chowima Oroke Adekunle. The next person is the registrar and executive council of OLABISI University, Mr. Femi Ogunwoju. I shall fill out the session with the lecture to Professor Charles Adekoya. And of course, the Deputy Chancellor of Academy, Professor Olabisi Oderi. And of course, the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Samson. Can you give me the round of applause? This honor by our main Vice Chancellor, Professor Ayodele Odunami. Thank you very much. Let's be seated. Mr. Vice Chancellor is the chairman of today's professorial inaugural lecture. Other distinguished personalities at the high table, distinguished members of the audience, it's now time for me to invite the registrar of this great university, Mr. Femi Ogunwoju, who in turn will invite our amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Ayodele Agbola, to declare the 114th Inaugural Professorial Inaugural Lecture open. Mr. Registrar, sir. Let's put our hands together for him.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, the management, staff and students of this university, we welcome you to the 113th Inaugural Lecture. Is it 114th? 114th Inaugural Lecture. The lecturer for today is Professor Samson. May I now invite the Vice Chancellor to please declare the ceremony open. The Vice Chancellor.
The principal officer of the university, deans, heads of department here present, professors and members of Senate, other university community here present, the chairman of the Abiola Government Board, erudite emeritus professors here present, the inaugural lecturer of today, our invited guests, our students, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Senate of this university, I hereby declare 114th Inaugural Lecture open.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this 114th Inaugural Lecture is titled My Mouth, My Pen, My God. It will be delivered by Professor Samson. Professor Dari, can you please stand and remain standing? Thank you. May I now invite the Vice Chancellor to please introduce today's inaugural lecturer. Vice Chancellor.
The citation of the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Samson Dari. Prof was born on 1st May 1957 in Ede, Osun State. He attended Baptist High School Ede from 1973 to 1977. He obtained OND Mass Communication from the Polytechnic Ibadan in the year 1980 and was a student journalist on industrial attachment with the defunct Daily Sketch same year. He later obtained BA English from the University of Ibadan in 1983. He joined the services of Ogun State University, now OLABISI University, AGO-IWOYE, as a graduate assistant in November 1984. So Prof is also celebrating 40th anniversary along with the university. Once to create a niche for himself in academia, he obtained a master's degree and a PhD in English language from his alma mater, the University of Ibadan, in the year 1986 and 1998, respectively. He rose through the ranks and became a professor in the year 2020. Our inaugural lecturer of today has served meritoriously in various academic and administrative capacities within and outside the university. First, within the university, he was the departmental secretary between the year 1984 to 1985, departmental examinations officer between 1987 to 1989, a staff advisor, Association of Students of English between the year 1985 to 1990, associate editor, Gege Ogo, Studies in English, the official journal of the Department of English, OLABISI ONABANJO University, between the year 1991 to 1994. Coordinator, Department of English Seminar Series, between the 1991 to 1994. Served as of Dean, Faculty of Arts, 1993 to 1994. Acting Head of English Department, 1994 to 1996. Chairperson, Faculty of Arts Consultancy Services, Editorial Consultant, Nigerian Journal of Social and Management Sciences, between 1994 to date. Editor-in-Chief, Gege, okay, whichever one now, 1994 to 2008. Coordinator, Faculty of Art again, in 1995 to 1998, and Editorial Consultant, Journal of Transport Studies, Department of Geography and Regional Planning, between 1995 to date. Staff Advisor and Faculty of Hospitals, between 1995 to date. Editorial Consultant to the book Essential of General Studies, Volume 1 and 2, 1997. Chairman, Mass Communication Committee in 1999. Foundation Coordinator, Mass Communication Program of the Faculty of Art, also in 1999. He has also served the university as Dean Postgraduate Faculty of Art in 2002-2003, Chairman Faculty of Art Workshop Series, Acting Head of Department in 2003-2008, and Foundation member, National Association of Teachers and Researchers in English as a second language, Assembly to Publication 2006-2010. Was also a director of CESAP between 2009 to 2010, and is also the current Dean of Faculty of Arts 2020 today. Outside the university, Professor Samson was a visiting senior lecturer of sabbatical, Department of General Studies, University of Agriculture, between January 2001 to January 2002. He was also a visiting leader of sabbatical, Department of English, College of Humanities, Science and University of Education, Ogun State, between July 2011 to May 2012. Was an excellent examiner of graduates to the Department of Language, Bangkok University election, Ogun State, and member of a criteria panel that visited and evaluated the English language and literature program at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, as well as Nigerian Police Academy, Wuri, in 2009, between October to November. Prof was an assessor of application for African Humanities Program, AHP, Commission for Research Fellowship. Was also an editorial consultant to the Postgraduate School, Northwest University in South Africa. Editorial consultant to the Postgraduate School, University of South Africa, and guest editor, Ibadan Journal of English Studies. Is also a famous columnist for the writing of columns, Language and Style in Yoruba Tribune for 33 years now. Prof is a member of notable professional bodies, including National Association of Teachers and Researchers in English as a second language, and the Nigerian Humanities Society, among others. As of today, Prof has attended several local and international conferences and has also, to his credit, over 30 publications and leading author and co-author in virtually all the publications that are either in reputable local or international journals. He has also written 6 books He has supervised many dissertations and theses within and outside the university. Prof is a family man, is married to Mrs. Elizabeth Ayabo-Dare, and the marriage is actually blessed with children. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Prof to the podium to deliver 114th Inaugural Lecture.
The Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, the Registrar, Master Librarian, the Bursar, Provost of Postgraduate School and College, Provost of Postgraduate School and other colleges, Deans of Faculties and Student Affairs, distinguished professors, heads of department, directors and heads of units, distinguished colleagues, friends from other universities, my Lord spiritual and temporal, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great old ones. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I have time today to give all glory to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, for the gift of life. For he is good, for his mercies endure forever. I've been here from the very beginning, Mr. Vice Chancellor. I've seen it all. The Department of English, the Faculty of Arts, and the entire university. I've been part of the brief stay on the main campus, Mr. Vice Chancellor. I've been part of the movement to and sojourn at Apostle Durari Academy Jebubu. I was involved in the movement to the main campus, rather. I was part of the initial stay in the present location of the Faculty of Arts. I was part of the movement to and sojourn at the Wampo Instrumentation Building. I was part of all the movements. I have known and worked with all the Vice Chancellors, and they were all great men, all the Vice Chancellors. Working here has been a blessing in a multi-dimensional way. I thank God for his goodness. The title of this inaugural lecture, Mr. Vice Chancellor, is My Mouth, My Pen, My God. And an anecdote will be apt in setting the context for this title. I want you to understand the context of the title of the lecture. An anecdote will be apt to set the context. The audience may wish to know, as part of setting the context, that I'm a public speaker. Vice Chancellor. Now I'm a public speaker, I'm a scholar, I'm a writer. Or maybe also I should say I'm a preacher. In an exciting and illuminating preamble to his inaugural lecture in 1997, Professor Femi Osofisani, the consummate playwright and excellent essays, declared, "It was my mouth that brought me here to this occasion." So I'm borrowing this from Professor Femi Osofisani, that excellent playwright. Here is the story. This conclusion is the climax of a parable text at the beginning of the lecture. But here is the story, which I paraphrase, adapt, and is thought to suit my own purpose. A valiant hunter ventures into the forest in search of game. He chances upon a skull on the ground. Surprised, the hunter asks, what's the skull doing in the middle of the bush? To which his skull responds, "I will tell you if you wish to know." my mouth brought me here. It is with great shock and bewilderment that the author begins a dialogue with his legs. I borrowed this phrase from Wole Soyinka, a dialogue with his legs. On reaching the village, he makes straight for the palace and apprises the king of the strange encounter, the phenomenon of his call bursting into speech. Astounded, the king gathers his chiefs, warriors and valiant hunters, and asks the hunter to lead the way to the forest. On getting there, the truly sight his call, but strange enough, refuses to talk. What brought you here? The king asks, but his call refuses to utter as much as he sees. Before the king could pronounce a capital punishment, his call finds his speech and declares, my mouth brought me here. As he utters those words, he transforms into a full-grown man with a crown on his head. He claims to be the progenitor of the town. He gives instructions that the hunter who would have been killed be honored with a position next to the king. The hunter declares emphatically, my mouth brought me here. Mr. Vice Chancellor, you know that my mouth brought me here. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we witness to the fact in every positive, wholesome, and progressive sense, my mouth brought me here. I must add very quickly, however, that my mouth and my pen did the job. The mouth and the pen are the two chief instruments by which language is transmitted. Mouth and pen are the chief instruments by which language is transmitted. The mouth is symbolic of the oral nature of language, while the pen speaks of its written form. Language is basically an oral phenomenon. The tongue, gains center to the production of speech sound, is synonymous with language. Here's the point made in the old national anthem: though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Your mother tongue is your native language. By the way, your first and most intimate encounter with your language is through your mother and the mother tongue. The next point I go in this presentation is methodology. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm confronted by three possible approaches to this inaugural lecture. One, I could mesmerize the listening audience with recondite intellectualism, alienating them by opting for equally arcane language. That way, I will be talking to a small group in the audience, my colleagues in the Department of English, Linguistics, and those who are somehow familiar with our talking trade, which is linguistic structures. Two, I could present a watered-down version of the lecture so that my ideas and thoughts could resonate with the crowd. Thus, lecturer will succumb to a form of speaking to the gallery. This in itself is not a bad idea, except that it stands a chance of not only compromising the truth, but also constituting a distraction. The third approach, which I favor in this presentation, is a cross. It's a cross between the first and the second possible approaches. It is favored because it enables us to have a handle on the professional core of the lecture, while accommodating the interests of non-professionals, however tangential. Style and stylistics. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my area of specialization is stylistics, a word that derives from stylus, an instrument for writing. The word stylistic is a morphological product of the interaction between style and linguistics. Stylistic is a bridge between language and literature. It is famously described as a phenomenon with one leg in language and one leg in literature. It borrows its principles, methodology, and its analytic orientation from linguistics, a discipline which in turn owes most of its methodology to science. A stylistic approach that is almost completely grounded in linguistics is called linguistic stylistics. That way relies on literary orientation is called literary statistics. Often, however, no explicit allegiance is expressed with respect to methodology. As statisticians, we study texts, including literary and non-literary texts, have studied literary discourse, legal discourse, journalistic discourse, religious discourse, and so on. It is my strong conviction that exposure to literature enriches language. In fact, language and literature are mutually enriching. What is stylistics? Stylistics is the study of style. What is style? Style is a situational, personal, generic, conscious or subconscious variation of language. It is language in use. It is difficult to present a neat, catch-it-all definition of stylistics or style. Stylistic lays emphasis on the idiosyncratic use of language and choices made by individual writers in certain situations or contexts. Every language user possesses a linguistic peculiarity of liberal or lexical predilection, that is, a linguistic thumbprint. Olujide 2002. Users of language generally express concern about the need for objectivity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my first major research output is in the area of objectivity versus subjectivity. And the title of the paper is In Defense of Subjective Reporting. Many of us tend to say that we are objective, while our listeners or the person on the other side is subjective, as if objectivity is a virtue. My argument is that there is nothing like objectivity. Objectivity is not necessary, it's not attainable. That is the central argument of my paper. And as subjectivity, there's nothing wrong with subjectivity, because in any case, all of us are subjective, and we are necessarily so by virtue of being human beings. Users of language generally express concern about the need for objectivity in discourse presentation, creating the illusion that there is a commonly held view about and a conceptual framework for the apprehension of phenomenon in any form of discourse. People have a tendency to pontificate passionately on the concept of repertorial objectivity. Yet, this issue has been generally vaguely understood, even grossly misunderstood. When most people's opinions on the issue are subjected to critical scrutiny, they are found to be vague, trivial, and tangential. In point of fact, we are handling here one of those concepts that look deceptively simple, and on which everybody believes is a notion to speak with authority. Given these observations about the character of objective reporting, it is my opinion that objectivity is idealistic and definitely unattainable. Observations about the character of objective reporting. It is my opinion that objectivity is idealistic and definitely unattainable. More importantly, it is unnecessary and also to endeavor to attain objectivity in discourse. Every spoken or written communication is a nature of facts and persuasion. Indeed, it is hard to sort out old facts, whatever their nature, from the form and code in which they are couched. The manner of presentation shifts into the perspective, the manner that is presented. It is doubtful whether there is a value-neutral fact, whether there is a fact or attached to an angle of vision. It is even more doubtful whether there is a value-neutral report. The report is not a report, which is not significant from many point of view. Every report is attached to a viewpoint to evaluate the significance. In every spoken or written communication is a mixture of facts and persuasion. Indeed, it is hard to sort of cold facts, whatever their nature, from the form and code in which they are couched. The manner of presentation shapes into perspective the matter that is presented. It is doubtful whether there is a value to a fact, whether there is a fact on account of an angle of vision. It is even more doubtful whether there is a value to a report. The report is not a report, which is not different from any point of view. Every report is attached to a report. As part of my explorations of the different dimensions of the interrelationship between language and culture, I found that sexual matters exhibit certain universal features in sociocultural context. The paper which this audience may find exciting is titled Sexual Discourse in New Australian Poetry, a Socio-Linguistic Reading. The paper on Australian poetic composition is as exciting as it is controversial. It is a well-known fact that sexual matters are not allowed to feature in public discourse in the traditional Western and African cultures. Britain, for example, has been very severe in the censorship of obscenity, legally coded as obscene libel, of matter tending to prefer and corrupt. On the ground that the repeated said luridly and explicitly, P.H. Lawrence's novel, The Rainbow, 1915, and The Detective Lover, 1928, as well as James Joyce's Ulysses, 1922, were officially suppressed. Salaciousness was the principal focus of the trial of an expurgated edition of the Charles Lover in 1960. The verbal liberty on sexual matters appropriated OLABISI, who calls himself the master of lewd jokes, and many other Nigerian entertainers, has inspired castigation and disdain from Nigerian audience. The public squeamish taste has been fostered as much by religious experience as by the traditional culture. Artists who violate the propriety placed on the object, now the subjects, as OLABISI and others, are castigated not only for being coarse or uncouth, but also for lacking originality. Although this disdain applies to all violators in all sections of society, it will be seen that commercial dancers in Nigeria take liberties with obscene jokes when they are in those stations. This deviance is typical of the certain morality in which the church is identified. It is interesting that outside those stations,
of the Department of Performing Arts, they will quickly give us some tunes for about 2 or 3 minutes, just to spice up this occasion that will continue thereafter. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the music. in a minute. Please settle down.
I want to let the distinguished audience know I'm perfectly okay. I feel rather hot and old in this colonial gown. The suit, I wore this suit last more than 20 years ago. In fact, I bought 4 of them about 5 years ago. This is the first time I'm wearing one of them. So I'm feeling my skin is not comfortable with them. Even though I'm a student of Professor of English. In this paper, I would like this audience to pay attention to. It's titled English and Culture of Yoruba. There are 3 key points I'd like you to note. But for that, every language is supported by its own culture. You can't learn a language successfully without being thoroughly introduced into its culture. So the English language is supported by the English culture, Yoruba language is supported by the Yoruba culture. So the paper is English and Yoruba culture. And under this, I have 3 points of culture I'd like to draw your attention. Greetings is one of them. Politeness is another. The third one is kinship terms. Mr. Vice Chancellor, one extremely cultural phenomenon run deep in the Yoruba psychology is greetings and good wishes. It is no surprise that it is so challenging to teach Yoruba learners to express the phenomenon in English. Foreign observers will know that habitually Yoruba people greet each other colorfully, copiously, and respectfully. There is no limit to the occasions of greetings. New births, weddings, successful completion of building projects, escape from danger, illness, convalescence, bereavement, preparation to go for and return from hunting expeditions. Greetings are exchanged when one is going on or after returning from a journey, and so on. It is undeniable fact that these greetings are often heartfelt, but the language conveying them can be reduced to a predictive formula. The internalization of such forms is an important part of the socialization process, and greetings and their corresponding linguistic markers are of great value among the Yoruba people. Evidently, the word ku in Yoruba greetings feature predictably, but ku itself has no meaning in isolation. For example, Ekule, Yoku house, Ekabo, Yoku coming or returning, Ekushe, Yoku walk, Yoku sitting, Ekasa, Yoku afternoon, and so on. It is with this deep socio-cultural and linguistic background that Yoruba child is introduced to the English language. The English language, we need to say, has its own imperialistic tendency, and we sought to shed our cultural habits and attitudes so that we adopt those of English. It is widely believed that English people are not very warm. These socio-cultural habits, worsened by the highly individualized, impersonal, technologized nature of their society, has a remarkable influence on the nature and frequency of greeting in the culture of English. In this culture, people do not exchange greetings and good wishes as frequently as we do in Africa. The socio-cultural conflicts constitutes a problem with the teaching and learning of English as a second language in Yoruba medium. Many Yoruba students of English in search of approximation of equivalences in English greetings in Yoruba often opt for such expressions as well done, ekushe, welcome, ekabo, and sorry, an expression of sympathy or condolence on the misfortune you never caused anybody. There are even instances of direct translations, such as we have in Olaru Chimizu. Priest says, you greet your son, you have come well. Adiroko says, I greet the elders of Allah. Chief say, you have come well, my son. Your life shall be good. It would appear that writers of such literature are mirroring, not paradoxizing, parodying the linguistic situation in the Nigerian context. Nigerian writers themselves appear to believe that translation or transliteration is the only way out of the problem of written English, assuming they see it as a problem at all. This linguistic situation seems to point in the direction of the now controversial notion of Nigerian English. Whatever anyone's position regarding the overflow issue, the English language has definitely acquired a color, a complexion in the Nigerian context, and in particular in the Yoruba context, that marks it as distinctly different from English, and suggests that the British which we are deeply sociocultural in nature are in part responsible for the local color of English in Yoruba land. To make a Yoruba speak of English express greetings in perfectly native speaker-like forms will necessitate establishing the abstract, distinct Yoruba elements in the mind of the speaker. To achieve this cultural establishment, it is further recommended that the social environment in which the students exist must also be worked out, and an English environment important to take its place. These are crazy suggestions, but they are a way of showing the absurdity of trying to make Yoruba become English in spread greetings and impeccable English. This statement should not be interpreted as suggesting that teachers of English should not teach students how to express greetings in English. They should by all means, but they should recognize the limit beyond which they cannot go. We will soon discover that insisting that Yoruba students of English, even in the most advanced classes, express greetings in this way will do violence to their psychology and socio-cultural consciousness. I even dare to say that there are no teachers in Nigeria today who could teach this kind of English. The second item I consider as part of cultural issues is politeness. Mr. Chancellor, sir, closely related to the problem of greetings is that of expressing politeness. The extreme politeness of the Yoruba people is extremely reflected in their language, particularly with regard to honorifics. The plural forms of the second person pronoun, you, plural for a single person, and the third person pronoun, one, they, them, plural for a single person, are used in addition to their normal function as plural to express respect and politeness to strangers and people who are important because of their wealth, age, or position. The usage here is similar to that described by Brown and Green by 1960 as pronouns of power and solidarity, and I shall be using their terms freely henceforth. Those who are described as older than, parent of, employer of, richer than, stronger than, and nobler than, or summarizable as more powerful than, receive the plural pronominals, honorifics, v, àwọn, in Yoruba, and return the singular pronominal tí, o, ìwọ, òun. In other words, the use of pronouns expressing power in Yoruba is asymmetrical, with the greater addressing the lesser as T, and the lesser replying with V. On the other hand, the relationship of equality, we have symmetrical reciprocal pronoun usage. These pronouns of solidarity, close friends, practice the same profession, attended the same school, lead to reciprocal use of T. There are, however, exceptions to the rules I highlighted above. It's interesting that in the Yoruba traditions of the Bible and the Quran, Yoruba translations rather, Yoruba translations of the Bible and the Quran. The polite form V is never used for addressing God. One can only speculate as to what is responsible for it. Might be the case that the translations are merely following the pronominal usage in the English version on which they are translated. Fidelity to the rule, is sacrifice to reference. But this cannot be the whole truth, as prayers in Islam, Christianity, and African traditional religion. The familiar form T, the word, is used in addressing God or God. To remain a matter of conjecture why this is so, which is it is. For introspection does not show that God is being insulted by the non-usage of V. Cordiality or closeness to God will not adequately explain this phenomenon either. Because however close a Yoruba child may be to his father, he will never for one moment use the familiar T form. There is another exception, the explanation of which will also serve for the usage noted in the religious context about the use of the familiar form T to apostrophize or to address the important person in his absence. The praise singer especially addresses the king with T with impunity, excusing his impertinent provider. Máa sọ pé mo bá olóyè ìbùkún orúkọ ló ṣáájú oyè ló tẹ̀lé. Do not take offence that I address you by name in spite of your chieftaincy. You first of all add a name before you became the king. That's his additional impact. The T form and the bare name of the Oba, i.e. without chieftaincy title being attached, are freely used in moments of emphatic address, not only by the praise singer, but also by anyone in familiar situations, in similar situations. This is also applicable to all important personalities, and probably to the deity or deities. An important personality not present may also be addressed with the same liberty, with the proper explanation. The Naya can save one if one insulted the king in his absence. Also deserving attention is explanation found in the mass media. It is the case that news reports in Yoruba on radio, television, and newspaper usually contain only the T form. In my view, V is not used at all because it will convey an attitude, and it is the quality of an ideal report to be objective, depersonalized, short of stylistic manifestation of the reporter's attitude. Remarkably, present-day standard English, unlike French, Spanish, Italian, for example, unlike Yoruba, has lost the T-V contrast in the form of address. Yoruba children introduced to English for the first time find themselves reverting to the T-V distinction in a language in which the distinction is absent. They feel lost when their teacher tells them that it is appropriate to refer to a superior, including the teacher, simply as he, him, she, are not they, them. The choice of the polite form, V, is informed by the choice of linguistic habit of the background in which politeness is right. After the initial hesitation and psychological crisis, however, children are able to overcome this tendency to transfer linguistic norms into their native dialect into English. The problem is shortly because as they grow older, they are exposed to the sophisticated use of programming identified above. What has been said so far about politeness is not to be construed as implying that the English are never polite as a people. They simply have a different way of expressing politeness. With introduction and manipulation of modal auxiliaries, what would otherwise have been imperatives can be turned to polite statement, request and question. Shall we pray? It's a polite form. May I know your name? It's a polite form. Can I use your pen? Can I open the window? These subtle variation intonation pattern are used to express politeness and indicate the level of familiarity of the interlocutor. Expressions of this nature pose problem to average Yoruba users of English, precisely because they are not available in their native language. Otiakolaya Akere knows that a visitor from one of the native English-speaking countries may sometimes leave Nigeria with some impression of impoliteness on the part of the average university student. They are not impolite, they are polite, except that their cultural background and their language express politeness differently. Kinship terms. The Yoruba practice the extended family system, evidence that the Yoruba attach great importance to blood relations and a long genealogy. The average Yoruba wants to be identified with the most remote of his or her relations, and this has linguistic repercussions. Although there are some precise terms describing relationships in Yoruba, of Bakan and uncle, aunt, cousin, half-brother, half-sister on the paternal side, Iyekan and uncle, aunt, cousin on the maternal side. The Yoruba people prefer to use such words as father, mother, son, daughter, and sister, where no blood relationship is involved at all. And where native speakers of English will not use patient terms at all, or prefer such terms as cousin, uncle, aunt, and niece. I find the tendency also among the Yoruba to use such expressions as my father's brother's son, my father's brother's son. This expression suggests a concern to link oneself along the long chain of image with a personal reference. To use precise terms, which are in any case very few in the language, will be very disturbing and relating both to the aggressor and aggressee. Informed by a similar social mentality are such items as husband and wife. It is the case among the Yoruba that a person, male or female, can call a woman my wife if she is a wife to a relative. This same goes for husband. A mother can even call her child male or female my husband. But in Yoruba, these are exceptions these are expressions of cordiality and not of sexual immorality or perversion. In countries where English is the first language, the nuclear family system is the practice, and this society tends to be highly individualized. These two factors, in my thinking, are responsible for the clear-cut, very precise terms used in describing relationships in those societies. The terms father, mother, child, son, daughter, brother, and sister are used by English people strictly. For direct biological relationships. A look at Nigerian literature will reveal this. Writers using it, they are wanting to achieve very limited in the creation of Nigerian cultural context, use expressions like this. It appears that kinship terms may well be another area in which much debated Nigerian music is imagined. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I went on another journey with my pen on paper on the title The Style Mysteries and Miracles of Historic Technology, a stylistic and cultural explanation of aspects of Olusoka's writing. Here, my interest is in the fact that Yoruba people have a way of addressing exotic technological items, such as railway, such as the plane. Anytime Nigerian and Yoruba people encounter new technology, new phenomena, they reduce them to jokes, or to proverbs, or to songs. That is the point here. And Shoyinka, and I've used Shoyinka's plays and novels for this purpose. The point has been made that Yoruba people typically find a way of coming to terms with and negotiating relationships with freakish or exotic objects, periphrases, euphemisms, songs, and humor are the more common methods of referring to the strange objects. Most Yoruba children are so enamored with and fascinated by the trade, and they have a song that imitates that imitates its sounds that are short of prolonged thunder. Here is the song. Moti gòkè moti sọ, moti gòkè moti sọ, òkè tálájà bá òní kàn, moti sọ. Wákàtí. So that is showing, telling us that Yoruba people are, they encounter railway. It mesmerizes them, surprises them, because the way to address it is to address it by a joke or a song. That's my discovery with people. This song is supposed to be a beautiful monologue, boastful rather, monologue put in the mouth of the tree. It boasts about his ability to travel fast and extensively through difficult terrains, which ability is conferred by his possession of enormous iron and steel. The most difficult terrain that is the focus of children's song is the hill. The wayfarer's ability pays into his significance relative to the facts, to the feats for which the train is known. Well, my own translation of this, I won't go into it. The BBC and me has disagreed with my translation, and I say I hold the translation to Soyinka himself. When I say Soyinka, everybody says he's the master. Whatever he says, the motors bow. Another example is the media. Now, Mr. Lecture, the same habits that I have noticed in Yoruba people's typical attitude and responses to exotic items of technology I also found are in evidence in the media. Here are examples. Who says there isn't plenty involved in the penny newspaper? That is Yoruba addressing the print media. They are surprised, mesmerized by the media. But how do they encounter it? They simply will reduce it to joke. There are plenty of work in the penny newspaper. That's what it is saying. That is what I discovered. Time. Luckily, you have a copy of it. The next paper has to do with translation. Translation is a very difficult phenomenon. Translation. Let's see. The problem I find with translation is that in Yoruba bulletins or Yoruba radios and television, many of the translations are vague, inaccurate, many times incorrect. That's the problem I find with translations from concepts. And I do this now. Now, the Senate is called Ilias Ofiagba, the Senior Superior Law Making Chamber. What do you make of that? Ilias Ofiagba. And the House of Assembly, the lower house is called Ilias Ofiagba. They are referring to the House of Representatives. What can, if you were to translate that for an Englishman, will you be able to make sense out of that? No, like. And now, the title of officers, or AGO, is used for colonel, general, admiral, sergeant. These are imprecise of AGO. It refers to a number of concepts, such as general, admiral, colonel, sergeant, as they are all translated as AGO, which means the military boss. How will the military boss capture all of those concepts? table. Okay, you see me now. We have a table which takes care of that. Manager, this US call it Ogaga. That's very big. What is Ogaga? Olulori FM also call it Ogaga. OGDs call it Olugari. Another one call it Ogaga. That's manager. What about chief executive officer? It's also called Alashe Agba. Alashe Agba Olugari. Alashe. Provost. Now, here we have problem. Provost Olori Oga Agba Ilé Ẹ̀kọ́ Ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ Olùkọ́ni. That's long and descriptive. Olórí ọ̀gá àgbà ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ olùkọ́ni. Ọ̀gá àgbà fún ilé ẹ̀kọ́ olùkọ́ni. That's referring to provost. What about the rector? Now look at Vice Chancellor. Vice Chancellor, Giwa Alashe Agba, ilé ẹ̀kọ́ fásitì. Another one say Giwa Alashe Agba, ilé ẹ̀kọ́ fásitì. Ọ̀gá fún ilé ẹ̀kọ́ fásitì. Ọ̀gá àgbà. There are issues of inaccuracies. It means that as experts in English, we have to help in doing more precise translations. We have to come to the aid of radio stations and television stations and come out with something sharper, clearer. So I'm going toward the end. I come to language and style. Mr. Vice Chancellor. Sometime in March 1991, a colleague here, is from here, brought word from the editor Sunday Tribune saying that he would like to see me. On arriving at the Lamia premises of the Tribune, one Mr. OLABISI, an editor of the Sunday Tribune, simply had a message for me. He will help me write a column every Sunday, teaching journalists and other users how to use English properly and effectively. That was March 1991. My head swelled, so much so that an outside car could not capture my head. I suppose an inaugural lecture permits one to be a little immodest, if only once in a lifetime. If you understand what I mean. Once in a lifetime thing, and one can seek forgiveness from God for being immodest. We, the then editor and I, sat down together and came up with the title of the column, Language and Style. The question that streamed through my mind was, how did the editor get to know me? How could he be so sure that I could sustain the column for a long time to come? How could he have singled me out of the numerous English and literary scholars in Nigeria? The only answer is my God. Hence, my mouth, my pen, and my God. No, I'm not drinking water. The Vice Chancellor is my Vice Chancellor, and you understand what I mean by that. Since 1991, that column has not stopped appearing every Sunday. I have lost count of the number, but it has certainly exceeded 1,000 appearances. It's for this reason that friends and colleagues have given me the nickname Language and Style. I'm delighted to report, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, that the modest efforts on the page of Sunday Tribune are giving us a name that transcends this environment. For example, I've received communication from the high-ranking soldiers on the Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, seeking help on matters of grammar and sound discourse presentation. eminent lawyers, judges, politicians, academics, bankers have spoken in glowing terms about the benefits of our efforts. The former governor of Oyo State, for example, Dr. Manuel once engaged me for close to an hour on healthy use of language. I conducted workshops and training programs for journalists on effective use of language. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, may I also recall that I have become officially certified language editor for PhD thesis in Southern African University. I was once commissioned by Spectrum Books, owned by a Dutch man, to write a book. This involved traveling for weeks. This audience refines samples from the language and style column and related efforts, informative and enlightening. Some common commensurate errors and expressions are here represented. I hope it's enlightened. Twirls, and so forth. This lecture has drawn attention to important aspects of my research efforts. A 1-hour presentation cannot do justice to the output of a long career, especially when the lecture is interrupted by shortage of sugar. And is stopped by a British tradition. I will throw it off now. It can only serve as a means of stimulating this audience to make efforts to obtain more information on our scholarship. Conclusion recommendation. This conclusion recommendation I owe the BBC and me, who was related very intelligently to the lecture. Surprisingly intelligent. Thank you very much. So it should be obvious from this lecture that my research has been in the area of the media, literature, translation, language teaching, and cultural issues. Significantly, the principles underlying all my research efforts are based in stylistics. This reality highlights the dynamic and Catholic nature of stylistics. I have, however, combined stylistic principles with those of pragmatics, semantics, discourse analysis, and sometimes literary analysis. It is this kind of imaginative combination that can guarantee robust research outputs and insightful analysis. My research has benefited immensely from my initial training in and further inquiry into the tension of mass communication. This has been enhanced by my close contact with the mass media and the fact that I was the founding coordinator of mass communication program, a program that later transited to the Department of Mass Communication, now hosted by the Faculty of Social Sciences. In the light of my research experience, I recommend strong intra- and interdisciplinary approach to research in languages and related disciplines. Cross-pollination of ideas has a rich prospect of enriching research content and outputs. Historically, scholars in the Faculty of Arts have conducted their research and published their outputs as single authors. We take pride in this tendency. But the time has come for us to change this attitude. Interdisciplinary research and publishing that we find in sister faculties should be the way to go. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, one key area of my research is literature. I object to the tendency of some departments of English in Nigerian universities to create a clinical dichotomy between language and literature. Language and literature are mutually enriching. Both are significant cultural and social institutions to which students should be sufficiently exposed. Literature creates socio-cultural and linguistic context that could enhance students' proficiency in English. Finally, Mr. Bachelor, sir, my students have sometimes expressed anxiety concerning the professional status of English studies. They worry about their financial status when they finish. I've often addressed their concerns by letting them know that English as a discipline need not be as professional as law, medicine, accounting, and so forth. Excellence is the key issue here. If you attain excellence in speaking and writing skills, you already made language a profession. In this context, professionalism is a matter of excellence. Yes, Mr. Bajo, excellence is the word. I come to acknowledge this. All glory and adoration go to the Almighty God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, for his goodness and mercy. Without him, I would amount to nothing. For his good, for his mercies endure forever. I acknowledge with appreciation the contributions of the succeeding vice chancellors to the growth and development of this great university. The inimitable Professor Olubisola succeeded in laying an enduring and excellent foundation upon which succeeding vice chancellors have been building. All the succeeding principal officers have done their best to take this university to greater heights. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my Vice Chancellor, I'm addressing my Vice Chancellor. As I fondly call you, Professor Ayode Jolai Kajosi, you are such a dynamic, vibrant, forward-looking, 21st century leader. Leadership is a gift to any society. The present leadership of the university will be a reference point for many years to come. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I thank you for all your time. You are a very sincere man. I must have said that to your face. Although man or that is prophetic. It's not just scholar, it's prophetic. I acknowledge the remarkable contribution of the first lady of the university, the professor and dean, Professor Mrs. Ijiabola Yawa. Thank you for taking care of the vice chancellor. I thank you for this. I express appreciation to the deputy vice chancellor academy, Professor Mr. Nodeni, who always insisted that I do not identify her as my abu, but as a daughter. Thank you very much, my daughter. You are a pride to the faculty of arts. May the Lord preserve you for all. Deputy vice chancellor administration, Professor Charles Onabanjo, I been a very effective member of the leadership team. I always give him a due account of himself in coordinating academic ceremonies. In particular, his intellectual and surprisingly stimulating response to this lecture has been excellent. We are proud of him. The registrar, Mr. Femi, and his team have demonstrated leadership by effectively sustaining the bureaucracy of the university. So are the Bosa and University of the I feel specially indebted to my teachers and Master of Ibadan, including Professor Leo Shodari. Including Professor Leo Shodari, Professor Dan Zimai, Professor Mike Bicken, my British undergraduate supervisor. He was a white man, an Englishman that supervised my undergraduate project. The University of Ibadan of our days, and I'm saying this so you can confirm, about 5 or more white men taught us. So the degree then, that of Ibadan, was not different from the degree you earned from the University of Britain. I thank Professor Mike Bicken, my undergraduate supervisor, Professor ONABANJO, my teacher and former vice chancellor of the University of Ibadan, Professor Lee Kamide, my previous supervisor, the benign, well-bred Commodore Abdul Rana. Professor Malara Ogude Pelesne, my teacher and foundation head of the Department of Ogun State University, facilitated my coming to Ogun State University. My profound appreciation goes to my colleagues in the Department of English. My colleagues there are wonderful, Department of English. Please, if there are lapses in curriculum Department of English, hold me responsible, because I have taught all of them. I taught every single one of them. And I say it once, if I didn't teach any one of you, it's an accident, because you didn't pass through this way. So I take responsibility for any lapse in curriculum in the department. I can see this one as well. You know what I'm talking about. The late Professor Ogumba, the retired Professor Leko Yegoke, Professor Lekanda Ero, Professor Nadeko, Secretary of Shoba, now the Lagos State University, Dr. Gracie Banga, Wale Ajayi, Ola Kazu, Dr. ONABANJO, Dr. Wale, Dr. Pena Kalifani, Dr. Dike and Dr. Peter Mani. I also appreciate Professor Frankie Bolivie, the University of Ghana, who was here once, spent about 10 years before he left to the University of Ghana. He's a Ghanaian himself. Many of my colleagues don't even know Frankie Bolivie, but she was part of one of us. And the late Dr. Bolade Oshinawa was special advisor for the Chief Olusegun Obasanjo as president. One cannot but have fond memories of Dr. Guru, now very close to being a full professor in University of Ibadan. I don't know whether she's here. She's extremely beautiful, lawyer, selfless, and versatile. Dr. Udu Yakubu is equally a lawyer, talented, committed, friendly, even to this day. Professor Tokwe Balogun was a great member of the department. Dr. Kemi Olayemi has been very kind in supporting the editorial work of this presentation today. With another colleague that I mentioned in the department there, I have no fear when I do that people will enter to my shoes. I express appreciation to my colleagues at Inaugural Lecture, including personally the current dean of the Faculty of Arts. I don't know whether it's here. And Professor Ibrahim Olaosun, also of the Department of English, promised to be here. I don't know whether I was able to make it. Oh, Professor Olaosun, thank you very much. I can see Professor Rotimi Taiwo, also there. Thank you very much. I don't know whether Professor Nikos was there. I'm very passionate about my scholarship. Very passionate. Thank you for coming. I cannot but remember my friends and colleagues, A.K. Custody, from FUNA, including Professor Akere Doduali. Is she around? Custody, you are a wonderful custody. God bless you. Professor Mrs. Bodole, also from FUNA. Professor Bose Sotiyoyi, Professor Adura Dola. Is she here? She called me early in the morning. She was doubting whether she would be here. You are blessed. All my students at all levels, I can't remember them. All my students at all levels, I remember. And your great grandfather in scholarship. They have been highly stimulated and inspired. I acknowledge the good work of the succeeding departmental secretaries, including Mr. Wale Ajayi, now of the boss, Wale Ajayi of the boss. Was the first departmental secretary of English. Wale Ajayi now I used the secretary of the boss now. Mrs. Awologa, Mrs. Wanalibosi, Sijito Bakari, now Rokedo Sumu, the secretary of the Department of English. It's also wonderful. I can't remember people, but I'm in contact with almost everybody here. People in OLABISI and ONABANJO University have been very wonderful. I've stayed almost half of my life in AGO-IWOYE. And my daughter found an awesome boy, AGO-IWOYE boy. Was there. I don't know whether my in-laws are there. They are literally, oh, Mama, you are, and then you are there. You are smart and good. I'm not a good. They are really well. God bless you. I wish to register my deep appreciation to my colleagues in the Faculty of Arts, Professor Alaji Kamanu, as he has left, a father, an uncle, a mentor, and a man with a generous spirit. This is Professor ONABANJO, I don't know what that is here. Professor Eboduwole, the former Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, is she here? We have been friends for years. Even though we thought, I said yesterday, we somebody quarrel. We are blessed. Professor Dele Balogun, the late Professor Adiabi, heads of department, professors who graciously and selflessly considered the second term to be in office as dean. Thank you very much. I wish to specially thank the immediate past Professor Kodubo for having done a great job as Dean and for the guidance and regular promptings The non-teaching staff under the leadership of Mrs. Ogutume is able and effective faculty officer has been great men and women. The secretary of the Dean, Mrs. Shole Ogutade, who typed out this manuscript, deserves special commendation. His quiet but industrious. Permit me to appreciate my long-standing friend and loyalist, Dr. Babatoli Odolani, a.k.a. Landlord, for his friendship and love. That's fantastic for me. He's such a selfless friend. We have been together from the very beginning. Mrs. Charles, the executive officer, and Mrs. Shola and Ladio of the language ability deserve special mention for their industry. I'm indebted to my co-landlords and tenants and Usoji Estate, Olulode Extension, Ibadan. Are they your landlord? Did they make it to our life? We are there. God bless you. I'm not very especially to revere Mr. Yomi Davis, the media guru, secretary assistant, his assistant Mr. Olanipo, and Nigeria country respectively. I thank Justice Akitola, Justice Akitola is here, promised to be here. Though older, we have been friends for years. I beside the Church of God, the family of God, members of Salvation of the Torah. Salvation of the Torah and Israel. Together we shall reign with Christ forever. This is an opportunity to especially recognize the only brother God gave me, Olushola Amadidani. He stand up for the community. He's the only man who is second to me from another day. And any lawyer who shall soon become a senior advocate. He is my confidant and a strong pillar of support. His wife, J.J. Madam Larry, is fellow and fellow integrated in the family. My own daughter, she's always doing good. So she pardon that abuse. Olufunke Dari, Olulunka Dari, Grace Dari, and Deborah Dari shall go and flourish before giving high service. I finally thank members of the Dari family present or absent here today. I thank my sister, Mrs. Olani Motajai, and my sister, Mrs. Nicolanda Wanyao. Thank you very much. My only private sister, for being two siblings. Before my family, the parents of my wife are wonderful people. God bless you all. I give God all the glory for my children. Ibuku, Olumide, Olukomi, and Olufemi. Our ruling desire for them is that they may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of their life. They belong to the Lord Jesus Christ forever. God bless Pastor Anthony Boka and his wife and daughter for their spiritual support. I thank God for my wife. Give God with love and mercy, so for me. She is a child partner that with me. I have no difficulty because the old God is present. We keep having God-fearing, steady, committed, life of everyone. We cannot have God the more than that. God has done all of me. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your work. God bless.
Well, it's 1:13 today. It is
indeed a glorious day. Please have your seats. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, have your seats, please. Once again, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, management, staff and students of OLABISI, ONABANJO, University of AGO-IWOYE, I want to thank you particularly our visitors to this campus for the first time. We welcome you especially. We thank you for coming and we appreciate your presence here. We thank all our distinguished guests from far and away. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your presence here. Shortly, I will invite the Vice Chancellor to declare this ceremony closed. Ladies and gentlemen, may I implore you, while the session is exiting, please stand up and remain standing while they exit. Immediately after we exit, the wife of the inaugural lecturer and the children will join the people on top there to take a photograph outside. Today, these are the people on top, and we're proud to have them there. Please remain calm while they're leaving the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a good day today. We wish you journey messages back to your respective destinations. May I now invite the Vice Chancellor to please declare this 114th Inaugural Lecture closed. The Vice Chancellor, sir.
You all agree with me, this affair is right one. My pen, my mouth, and my word. There's one aspect that people can one will help me to translate it to English. Because that's what God is trying to say. Ta ló mọ̀ mí o, ta ló béèrè mi tẹ́lẹ̀, ta ló mọ̀ mí o, ta ló béèrè mi tẹ́lẹ̀, bí ó ṣe wọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba tó gbé mi síta ò fàyè rí, bí ó ṣe wọ́ Ọlọ́run ọba tó gbé mi síta tògótògó. God will translate that one as well. But that is what God decided to say. And he doesn't know how that person got to know him and invite him to come and do what he has done. We thank God for your life. The principal officer of the universities, provost, deans, members of Senate here present, other distinguished guests, other members of the university community, my dear students, on behalf of this great university, I hereby declare 114th Inaugural Lecture closed.
We prepare your rise now as we have the reception exiting the hall. Thank you very much. Please, can you give them a round of applause, please? Thank you.